Sorry about that. Welcome. Once again, we'll start all over. I got you. Thank you, Red for Life. Big up, big up. Um, and unfortunately, because I pulled the microphone out. It ended up muting my mic. No, I got you. But welcome. Uh, Good to see everyone joining me for the Liverpool 12th Man show. I'm Liverpool 12th Man, and what I was saying earlier was that I was talking about my little walk, I guess, into my supporter boozer, and I spoke up to the club and everything else, the supporter club, and I was asking them. So we got some good footage. We're gonna edit it a little bit, and I'm gonna share with you guys some of the footage that we got for the game and for the experience. It was a pretty big, pretty good showing for the club. I mean, considering it's like a midday. So it's a Wednesday. It's the middle of the day and everything else. It's not necessarily, not always necessarily. You're not always necessarily going to get the greatest of turnouts, I guess you could say, because you have so much going on in the sense of people got to work. But all the same, we had a good showing out, and it was a fun little engagement, especially whenever we beat the Blues by the score that we did. And yeah. Hey, 4-1. I know I went 5-0. I guess that goal didn't really go the way, or I went 2-0 actually. I call it a 2-0 victory. But all the same, we got the victory, and that's all that counts. All that matters is the W. Bunch to talk about today. We're gonna go through ratings. We're gonna also do a little bit of, like I said, we're gonna talk a little bit about some of the highlights, if not some of the lowlights, I guess you could say. We're definitely going to get involved with this guy right here, my guy D9. We all know that I'm a big supporter. We got Redbird in the house as well. Got Jay Kismet, Red for Life. Definitely something to talk about. All the same, I got my wish to see him take his PK. Unfortunately, he did not make it, but I'll go a little bit more in depth as to why. I still think that we. Definitely should be there. And Nigel's got a great thing. I'm gonna bring up Nigel's spot too, because I want to talk about this as well. So I just watched this today. Nigel says, "Are we all in agreement? Pep Linders should be offered the job." And you know what? I am in agreement with that. I am not against seeing him be offered the job, be offered the gig, because I know that realistically he knows the system. He understands what it is that we need for this and everything else. But yes, he's leaving. Despite the fact that he went into depth about how he loves the fact that he loves the city, he loves his club, he loves the supporters and everything that we've given to him in bringing him just the love and admiration that he's been able to appreciate. And also he even spoke about how his family, whether his wife or his young boys, how they're Scousers through and through. They're Liverpool's all they know and all they've ever really known. They've grown up in the city and become faithful Scousers, as he put it. So this is a very difficult decision for him. There were some things that he said that was very, very I wouldn't say troubling. What's the word I'm looking for? That was a little bit confusing. Because he spoke about the fact that he does want to have a managerial job himself. He does want to take on a management. Basically, what I took it from what he's had to say is he does want a managerial job of his own, but he was never going to leave the side of Jurgen when he being the assistant. As long as he could assist Jurgen, he would do so. And he also made it a point to say that he wanted to. He does want to manage, but he doesn't. But he basically said, whether that means managing, he says he got to speak to his agent or, his own manager himself. And he's got to discuss his possibilities of his future. And he also has to discuss the idea of saying that if Jurgen does go on to manage someplace else, that could be an opportunity for him too. That could be a possibility of as well. But it was all a little bit there was a lot to really breakdown in what he was saying, because it made me then think, okay, did FSG not offer him the job, or did FSG has FSG even discussed the possibility of him taking on the reins and being the successor to this job? Did they say they wanted to bring in another coach and have him be the assistant so that could be the case? I don't know exactly all the conversations. Obviously, I'm not privy to it all, and there's only so much that he's going to give us from what he has to say. But it was very, very, very telling and very interesting to hear him vocalize the fact that he loves being here. He loves the town, loves the city, I should say, loves the club, loves everything about, the organization from top to bottom, fans included, obviously, despite some of them not being so thankful on his book that he put out there. But all the same, that's what it was. Big up to Steven. I see you, Steven. I don't know if this is Steven's birthday today or not, but I know Steven's got a birthday coming up. So everyone keep their eye out for that. You all want to definitely wish Steven a happy birthday when it is appropriate. But yeah, I wanted to really get into some of these, the ratings that we have and what we thought about the game. Again, I really enjoyed the game, despite the fact that, there were some, how can you put it, like I said, there were some overshadowing moments in the game that I knew we were going to have to, take on, and if anything, it breaks my heart to see Darwin miss, or hit the woodwork, like he said. And it's one of those things where it was difficult. It was very, very difficult to see, because I really want him to do well, obviously, but I want him to, it's kind of painful, because you just know what the haters are going to say. You know what the rival's going to say. And you know what everyone else is going to say about this guy. And it's the reason why, if anything, you know what? I still got your back. I still am in full support and full confidence that you will give your all and continue to give your all for this club. And I think that we should all recognize and appreciate that. So it is what it is. But all the same, I wanted to definitely get some of these ratings in. And also I wanted to speak on a couple of different players, particularly, our young man, Conor Bradley, who had an absolutely stellar game. I know that the conversation has been sparked in the pretense that, are we a better team without Mo Salah? Are we a better team without Trent Alexander-Arnold? I get that conversation. I can somewhat get that conversation. Okay. In that, yes, as in, I see the results. I see the way that we work and everything else. Okay. I got you, Stephen. It's his birthday every day. That's like I say, treat it like it's your birthday every day. I'm in the same boat as you, but yes, what it was that it was something of a real, things like okay, I saw 12. I unsubscribed. I was like, oh no, I hope you didn't unsubscribe from my channel. But yeah, I wanted to definitely make sure that we give proper praise to young Conor Bradley. I wanted to give definitely recognition to just the great atmosphere that the Anfield crowd creates. You know what? Being that we now are in the last dance with our Kaiser, being that we are in this last go around with players that we know are going to be possibly with this club, because maybe the Kaiser's leaving, or because they love the city, but they don't necessarily have a guarantee of it. It depends on who we have as being that coach. Big up to GTV, big up to GTV football channel for sure. G has his own channel as well. I like when G and I are on the same podcast, because we definitely, there are things that we do agree on, but there are things that we certainly disagree on. And I like the exchanges and the dialogue and the discussions that we have. So if you haven't checked out GTV football channel, be sure to do so. But big up to everyone in here and showing their love. I also want to say, let's see. I wanted to see some of your comments here, and I'm going to get this. We're just going to, after we get through some of these comments, I want to jump right into the ratings portion, and then we can even, and I have some more in-depth dialogue to go on and to get into about some of the players. So I figure I'll just go through them I'll make some of these pitches and some of these declarations when we get to their name in the ratings portion. But let me bring up some of these comments real quick before we get into that section of the show. Let's see. He says, Nigel is saying, yes, he said he's leaving to become a football manager. Key is my last two words. I know, and that's what really was. I definitely focused in on that too, Nigel. I focused in on the fact that he said he wants to be. He says if he's not going to be the assistant for Jurgen, that he wants to manage, and that's very, very, very telling. And if anything, it says a lot about the fact of, sometimes where do we go from here with our manager search? Because now we have a position in place where, yes, we have to bring in a new manager. We could bring in your Alonso or I don't know, your De Zerbi's, or managers that have promised or are doing well. But then again, do we bring in someone that has a similar system? Not many people really have an exact system to this, that have the demand on the locker room, the respect of the players that Jurgen has. That's a unique factor when it comes to finding a coach that has that. And there aren't that many. There really aren't that many, if any, coaches out there that are the level of a Jurgen Klopp, that are the level of a Pep. I mean, obviously I'm talking about Pep G, not a Pep L. So those are things that you have to keep in mind we're going to be going against, competing and contending with a club in City that has a great manager in it, already installed, and obviously has a lot of different things in their favor. It also means that we as well have to consider, okay, well then how do we navigate bringing in a manager that is going to be able to compete, demand the respect of the players, be able to work under the confines of what FSG puts forward in keeping our club within FFP regulations, and finding all the right pieces, top to bottom. It's not just the coach. It's a matter of the player development coach, the assistant coach, the goalkeeper coach. All these different coaches that we have to keep in mind are all important pieces that we have to have in line for this. And yes, Jurgen's leaving is going to make a big difference. Yes, he is looking rosy. Let's see. And then Nigel also said, by the way, Pep L has been manager of LFC on Jurgen's days off. Anyone got his stats in charge of LFC? I'd be extremely interested in his winning percentage. I'll get that for you. I'll work on that for you. So yes, and then Steven said it would make more sense to keep Pep, and if it doesn't work out with Xavi, then Pep can have a go. So I guess Xavi Alonso is his first choice, and then he would offer it to Pep. So what else? Red for Life says 12. I unsubscribed from several so-called Liverpool supporter channels this morning after they released videos putting Darwin down yet again. Some people just don't get it. Thank you, brother. Notice that, I appreciate that. I appreciate hearing that, Red for Life, because it makes a difference, man. I mean, you got to recognize the fact that this young man does a lot more for our club than just score goals. And I appreciate his contributions. I appreciate the energy. I appreciate all the things that he brings to our team. And it's obviously working in a positive for our club, considering that we are on such a great streak of games. If you were to tell me that the only Premier League loss that we would have would be a loss to the PGMOL, okay, then I would say obviously something's working. Obviously something is working, and this guy is a very big part of it. Very big part of it. It says 12. Another time, could you please find Pep L's win record? Yes, I will. I'll work on that definitely today. Pick up GTV showing love. Always love, man. Yes, you'll never walk alone for sure. Thank you, Jay Kismet. Jay Kismet put GTV's football channel link in the chat already. Good evening. Hi, Laura. Good to see you, brother. What's the question you're about to say? He says, not sure if you have covered this, but Liverpool rejected a bid for 15 million today from Nottingham Forest. Who was that for? Who was the bid for? Hi, Laura. Oh, for Kelleher. Yeah, you know what? 15 million pounds sounds like a lot for Kelleher. I'm not going to say it is. I'm looking for at least 20 million. I know that you might be saying, why are you going to squabble over 5 million pounds? I just think that Kelleher is a 20 million, if not, I know 25 million would be pushing it, but he's certainly a 20 million pound. Keeper in my mind, and that's going that's going against the U.S. men's national team keeper, because I'm pretty sure Matt Turner plays for Forest. I'm almost positive on that one. I'd have to double check, but anyway, let's see. GTV says, what we have to remember is Klopp was able to sell a high valuable asset, which allowed him to build the team he needed. Without it, he probably wouldn't have done as well as he did. I know that the Coutinho sale certainly helped in loosening the constraints on FSG. I also know that we were already very, very connected and very committed to getting Virgil as a part of our club. Did that mean that if we got Virgil, we'd have to pick one out of the two? And I don't know if that would have been the case. I think that, excuse me, I think that, we would have gone in. I think we would have gone in for those two acquisitions, regardless of the Coutinho money. I just think that the Coutinho money made it that much easier to go in for those two players without the constraints. That's what I'm trying to get across. Let's see. These football players, Nigel's saying, these footballers have managers that play silly games to get the best deal. Mo leaving, great example. Is Pep Linders basically playing the game? Hope not, as I really like him. Yeah, I agree with that. And so the next manager may need, this is GTV saying this. G says, so the next manager may need the same thing to be able to do the same, but we are lucky we already have top players. It's a matter of which one of those top players, all those top players. It also means what excuse me, what of those top players, let me get a little sip of iced tea here. It also means which one of those top players, what ones of those top players are going to stay with us. Look, I understand Virgil's comments. I think it's unfortunate that the news came out the way it did. I think that Jurgen probably would have kept this news all the way to the end if it probably wasn't about to be leaked. I think it was about to be leaked that he's going to be leaving, so he had to take care of it. Oh, Daz, you know what, Daz? If you let me, I will accept. I'll follow you back on Twitter, by the way, Daz, and that way you can DM me on Twitter. Okay, I think that's, for some reason, I think that's the way it's set up on there. If you want, comment on a post or something. And what I'll do is I'll make sure that I'll just click onto your page and I'll follow request you back, and also that way we can communicate through the DMs. But yeah, if anything, just leave a comment on something I posted on Twitter. I was posting a couple of times through the game yesterday. If you do that, then we can communicate that way. Yeah, so yes, where was I saying? So yes, so anyway, I was saying that basically, yeah, I think that what we can see and what we will see with this club is that we will see some change. I said Virgil's comments are understandable. I know that if I'm a player, or especially being an agent, having been an agent in my life, I know that you would want to have your player's best interest in mind. And I know that recognizably, if you're going to have a coach that goes into a club, let's say hypothetically, I don't know, Zidane coaches here or something like that, or De Zerbi or whoever, let's just say Coach X ends up taking over the reins for Klopp. Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that Coach X is so high on a 4-3-3. Maybe he's high on a 3-4, a 3, I don't know, something crazy, a 5-2-3 or something. Let's say, thinking of our top team in the Liverpool 12th man Anfield Cup. He's playing a 5-2-3, Bayesian Angel. So, like, let's say he wants a 5-2-3. Maybe that takes away, someone from the midfield. So now all of a sudden your role or your opportunity to play changes. A lot of these things have impact on your own personal future, So, there's a lot of like assurances and reassurances by having a coach like a Klopp or like a Pep already involved in your team, because then you have an assurance of what you're getting, what to expect. There's some real solidified foundation that brings real security in understanding what the future might bring for the club and for yourself as an individual player. And that's important. And Virgil's comments were on some, hey, let me see who the coach is, and then we can make a decision as to whether this coach even values me as being a part of the future, even values my service and what I can offer to this team, because maybe I don't fit his system. So that's a very big part and big question as to what and where and who we get in as a coach. Let's see. I'm going to answer 3 more of these comments, and then I'm going to get into the player evaluation. He says, Hyler says, he covers a lot in the stats region, but this transfer window is weird. Last January transfer window covered the spending of £815 million. This window barely broke £50 million. Wow. That is a incredibly, that's incredible. That's the difference of 765. I'm doing the math real quick in my head. £765 million difference. It really shows that the fact that the Premier League is very critically acting on infractions of your books this year, and they're doing it in the same calendar or same campaign year. They're actually implying the infraction violations towards that. That makes a big difference as to a lot of these teams that probably, fudge the books a little bit just so that they can get through and get by, knowing that, hey, well, maybe we'll get away with it, or maybe, even if we don't, we'll have to deal with it next year, not this year. It makes a huge difference. And then big up Cedric Lopez. Big up Cedric. I see you in the house. Big up Ozan Kabak. Yes, he played center back. Yes, that was a big result yesterday. Big time game. It really puts a lot of it really eases the pressure on our League Cup final matchup against Chelsea. In my opinion, I get that. It was a statement game. I think that as well. And I've said it. I said it earlier. I said it before on my cast as well. But I think that game had to be a statement game. It had to be a game that broke the seal on these draws, and also had to signify the fact that, look, we recognize. We really do recognize what we have to do, and that is just win everything, and I mean everything. So yeah. And last comment here, or last 2 comments, I'll put it. Would you believe that Crystal Palace is the big spender in this window? I do believe that Crystal Palace is the big spender. I think that Crystal Palace has the most underrated, I guess you could say, talent level of teams out there that aren't really contending for Champions League or even Europa positions. And that's just my evaluation. And that is, I really honestly think that if you look at Crystal Palace's team, there are a lot of really, really talented players on that team. And it wouldn't go along with it really wouldn't go along well with what they have to do. what they've actually performed. So, you know what? Too, I'm going to shut down this one window here because I want to make sure I can see I'm kind of getting a little bit choppy, but I want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So I'm going to shut down a couple of these extra windows. Big up, Philip, did well. Big up. Big up 12. He says, big up 12, man. I always knew we would get a statement win, but not one like that. Yeah, man. I knew I did bet. I made a couple of different bets, you know, try to cover all the bases. I didn't have a 4-1 bet in there, but I definitely tried to cover all the bases. I thought we were going to hit either. I put 2-0 as being my prediction yesterday. I also had 3-1. Since you guys went with 3-1, I went with 3-1 myself. But I also put in a cheeky 5-0 bet in there. And we almost got it. 5 goals were scored, just not 5 goals for us, unfortunately. Let's see. And then Ozan Kabak says, crazy to think that Darwin could have had a hat trick yesterday and 7-1 would have been the result. Yeah. Let's get into it. Let me make sure that that we're able to see what we need to see here. All right. Let me get one last thing here. So I want to make sure that you can actually see see what I have here. All right, cool. I'm going to add this to the stage here. Can't get rid of this stupid ad. I'll try to get rid of the ad. Anyway, you have to deal with the ad for now, I guess. I am not sponsored by Dunkin' Donuts or whoever that is. So just so you keep in mind that if Dunkin' Donuts wants to sponsor me, that's one thing. All right, maybe I got rid of it that way. But that's a whole different story. So, all right, so let's get into these ratings. I want to start with the Woodman. Yeah. The Woodsman. We call him the Woodsman. The Woodsman would be good. Yes, and Krispy Kreme is I definitely prefer, unless Dunkin' Donuts wants to sponsor me. That is a different story. As of now, I prefer Krispy Kreme's over Dunkin' Donuts any day, pretty much. Almost any day, at least. So let's get into these scores. Let's begin with our keeper, Alisson. Look, let me just say this. This is a shout out to Quasi. I don't know if Quasi Bold is watching or listening, or maybe he sees in the recap. I know he watches. We both watch each other's content religiously. So, if we can participate, we'll participate. If not, then we'll definitely always show love by watching each other's content. But I know that he's very, very big on making sure to say when Alisson gets a clean sheet, oh, you know what? Give him his flowers. He should be highly ranked and this and that, yada yada yada. You know what? And at the same time, this is why I'm not going to waver when a goalie gets a clean sheet, but he really has no real dangerous attempts on goal. If you overrate a clean sheet with, let's say, like 2 shots on goal, then you have to be equally critical when you have very few shots on goal and you concede a goal, So I'd like to know and hear what you guys think about. I'd like to really know what you guys think about what you feel or what you think about his performance yesterday. Are you guys? I was going to say it was an average performance for, if not below average performance. The Woodsman movie. I got you, Brian. And Brian, I'm going to send you the link in a few minutes if you're free. If you're not, I don't know if you are or not, but I'm going to send you the link for after the ratings to kind of chop it up and discuss a few things. But yes, how are we feeling about Alisson? I thought that Alisson was good yesterday, but not great. I know that he only had to make 2 saves. He had 46 touches. Was okay. with everything. I can't put him in above average. I can't put him in above average, Dustin. I know that, I mean, like I said, when it comes to the ratings, like, I get so much shtick, like I said, from Quasi about when I say, oh, he had one save or one shot on goal or whatever, like how I look at like those kinds of performances. And like and I know that like Chelsea had 4 shots, 3 on target, 4 shots the entire game. Okay. 4 shots on the entire game. That means that 3 shots were on target and one of them went in yesterday. So I don't know. GTV is giving him a 7. I would say he's a borderline 7, if not a 6 for me. I don't know. Do you think okay, so we got an 8 from Dustin. We got a 7 from GTV. Yeah, I got you, Redbird. Redbird said, yeah, I got you. Did you say Allison and above average in the same sentence? Wash your mouth out. I'm gonna go with I think he had an average performance. I'm with GTV on this. He was average, barely average, if not below average. I know put him as a below average probably be a harsh rating, but I mean he only had 3 shots on target, and and out of the 3 he led in 1. And I know Nkunku, that was a good goal for them. I know that Nkunku is a good player, but 1 out of 3, it means he had a 66% save rating. Not a great rating and everything. I'm gonna put average for right now. Yeah, and it might be harsh. I would have given him a below average, to be honest with you, because I just think that I expect more. But Jay Kismet is giving him a 7 too, so I'll stick with 7. I'm a man of the people. Let's move on to Joey G. Before big up Ensman TV, we got Hollywood in the house. I gave some comments and got the backing of some of the Liverpool Avengers from Savage and Ends yesterday on their call-in show. This is yeah, I got you. I know. Ripper saying, people, where's the positive 12th man? This is an imposter giving Ali a 6. I got you. Let's see. Where do we go with Gomez, Joey G? I thought Joey G had a solid performance yesterday. He is really going to make it difficult for Robbo to get his position back on that left side. I think he's playing well in every retrospect of the word. I think that he's, when we see him play in the inverted role, which you've seen him every once in a while, on the occasion, he performs in that role. He's obviously really, really talented when it comes to playing defensive measures, because he has the ability of a center back while also being able to play in that inverted role, or also playing on one of our fullback positions. I love the fact that Gomez has really contributed. We're going to see him get his goal one of these games. I bet on him doing it this game, but he didn't. But we're going to see it come. And I know that's pause, but I know that's going to be there very, very soon for him. I think maybe possibly against Arsenal, but all the same, I thought Joey had a good game. I'm going to put Joey as above average. I think what do we have for him? We have Jake Che has him as 8. Dustin has him at 8. I think that Joey had an above average game, really, really good game. Nothing's when he gets that, obviously he'll be my man of the match when he scores his goal, most likely. But yeah, I'm gonna say that Joe Maldini, yeah, I got you. It's hard to rate a goalie at times. It is really GTV for sure. And Ozan says Joe Maldini has been great at left back. I feel you on that for sure. Yes, we are going to be having round 2 tomorrow of the Anfield, the 12th man, Liverpool 12th man Anfield Cup tomorrow will be the second round. Please be sure to tune in tomorrow. for that. It's gonna be fun engagement and fun times. Certainly for the same. GTV has a 7 for Gomez. Wow, GTV. Tell me why you got him as an average. Tell me why. Definitely, I would love to hear why. Go into depth or elaborate, please. Doesn't matter how long of a winded typing you have to do. I will definitely bring it up and include it in the discussion. Tomorrow's Anfield Cup will begin 7 p.m. 7 p.m. UK time, by the way. 7 p.m. UK is the Anfield Cup kickoff for tomorrow, just so you guys know. GTV has amended that 7 to 7.5. I got you. Hensman says, don't ask G12. His answer will be boring. Good looking out. Let's see. I put Joey as an 8. I think he played solid yesterday. Let's move on to Virgil van Dijk. I thought Virgil had a good game. I wouldn't go as far as to say he had a great game. He didn't have a Virgil-esque style game. I think, if anything, Ibu performed a little bit better than him in this game. He only had to deal with one ground duel. Didn't really have to deal with much, I know. I heard you on that one. I know GTV definitely likes dropping 7s, but it's all good. 7 p.m. is the calling hour for my TV show, or my YouTube channel show here. If it's 7 o'clock, then it means to be on the lookout for Liverpool 12th Man in the UK, at least. If it's 7 o'clock, look for the Liverpool 12th Man show. So I'm cool with this, with the number 7. Let's see. JK gave Virgil a 6. Dustin gave Virgil an 8. Yeah, I got you, Nigel. I see your scores. So 6 and 8. What else have we gotten? What else have we gotten for? I'm gonna go with Virgil. He was a board. He was like, I think he was clumsy on the penalty. He was clumsy a couple of times, like as in Virgil got away with borderline fouls inside the box. There was a decent shout for Virgil getting a. You could argue that he needed to get, or could have gotten, a penalty in one of those challenges. They were soft challenges. I'm not going to even come close to equating the challenge on Diego to the challenges we saw from Virgil. They're not even close. I heard Rory speak on that. I watch a lot of the content out there, whether it's fellow content creators for our side of the fence in the Liverpool community. I watch content creators on the other side of the fence that aren't in our community, but offer commentary and offer games on our team. And yeah, I thought Virgil was a borderline 7, if not a 6. He's got to do better because there's going to be games where they do give him those calls, where they don't favor him in those calls. But I'm going to say that if we gave Ali a 6 or 7, I would say Virgil gets a 7 as well. Ensman says the first one on Virgil was not a foul, but 100% the one on Nkunku was a foul. I agree. The first one was not a foul. I think that's why I said the one on Nkunku could have been considered a foul, and that's something that we were fortunate to not see go against us. I definitely think Nkunku sold the foul, but I definitely think it could have been called a foul. It wasn't on the lines of where, I heard Rory, I heard Boovy, I heard even Adam on the club speak on the fact that they thought that Diego was a soft foul, that it was not a foul in their eyes. And that's what I'm saying. If you're going to say that, then there's absolutely no way I'm saying any of those challenges by Virgil's a foul. But if you're not going to acknowledge that, then that kind of, takes away your credence for that. But it is what it is. So I'm going to keep him in the 7. average at best. That's definitely that's my positive for Redbird. That's me being the positive guy. Big up Indian Scouser. Indian Scouser has his own channel. He doesn't necessarily have content going on right now, but Indian Scouser is still a really good guy, representing us in Thailand, and someone that I hope will be able to contribute and maybe hop on and in one of the call-ins or something like that, or even hop on and help with some of the content that we create here. Good guy. Big up Indian Scouser as each and every time. What did N say? N says either way it would have been 4-3 if they got the 2 pens. They should they still would have lost, and that's if they scored the pens. That's if they scored the pens. That's so correct, because you got to say that as well. Let's see. Indian Scouser says yes, he'll be posting content soon, bro. Thank you always for the shout out. Oh, big always definitely. You'll never walk alone means something to me, brother. It doesn't mean that something to every last one of us, but anyone and everyone that's connected in the chat with the Mighty Red Army, everyone that I know that supports myself and supports the channels like Ensman TV or GTV, all those that support them. Yeah, we're all loyal to that moniker of you'll never walk alone means something, and it should definitely always mean something. I'll even put that out there right now. I'll put that out there to remind you of why, so I don't have to repeat. Let's see. Let's move on to Konate. I thought Konate had a good game, man. Konate was solid. I know the only infraction that we are going to speak on is the yellow card. Do we put him in at average because of the yellow card? I thought he played well. He had 2 clearances. He had some. This is something that I was speaking. I was speaking with Brian. About, and I get that it's not necessarily crosses. They're not crosses. They're diagonals. But there were some really good passes. He had 12 attempts at making long ball passes. And I liked what we saw from Konate. I like the fact that he has that. He's really bringing that aspect out in his game. And I really like the fact that he's really focusing on parts of his game that we weren't recognizing, or at least not seeing before this. And that's with the progressive runs that he takes with the ball, or now more so with the passing. He was 7 out of 12 for his long balls yesterday. Okay. 1 out of 1 for aerial duels, 2 out of 3 for his ground duels. Those things are just, it is what it is with those things. But I like what we see out of Konate, and what we're seeing out of Konate is out of Ibu is exactly what I've really been saying, and that is we have a really good player here that is going to offer us a lot of things that we weren't really expecting. We know Ibu has Ibu smash, like the Hulk. We know we have the Incredible Hulk in Ibu when it comes to his physicality, but he's showing a really defined game in him, and I like it. I like it a lot. Yellow card hurts, but I'm still I see a lot of 8s. I see Dustin gave him an 8, Nigel gave him a 10. I already know Nigel's giving everyone a 10, but Dustin an 8. JK gave him an 8. Daz gave him an 8.5. Let's see. He says, Ibu cutting down the bozo comments. Salute to him for sure, man. I don't even know why he was getting those bozo comments, to be honest with you. That was just silly talk. Reactionary talk, if anything. I'm gonna put Ibu as an 8. Despite the yellow, I know we could mark him down to 7. If everyone, I saw a lot of 8s out there, I'm going to keep him in the 8. He's definitely the yellow, if anything, made him a low 8. So how I do this is I tier it. So I definitely put the ones that have better performances towards the front of the line, and those that had the back, who had a little bit, suspect ones, more so towards the back of the line in the tiers. So this, so you know, I thought Ibu had a good game though. Let's move on to an obvious man of the match. I'm not even going to hesitate, to put him into the top tier. I definitely think that our young man, Conor Bradley, had an absolute shout of a game. What a performance by this young man. It looks like he has definitely just made the right back role his own, gotten over any hurdles of butterflies in the stomach. This young man with the taking on that goal, which was an absolute brilliant goal. Brilliant goal for him. I'm going to have to say that, he's an obvious man of the match candidate. Obviously, there's so much to look forward to with this young man in our team. The fact that he's only 20 years old, just really, really, really encouraging as to where and what we do. Certainly will be going in for our future. Will certainly be someone that is going to be the guy that we call on when it comes to bringing some relief towards Trent when he needs to arrest, or even when we have to rotate and push or move Trent into the midfield for whatever change of lineup that we're doing with our change of roles. Having that player is going to be just a benefit for our team. Conor, big up to you, young man. Big up. Definitely man of the match candidate for sure. A favorite for man of the match candidate, by the way. Let's move on to Curtis Jones. How you guys feeling about Curtis Jones? I thought Curtis Jones did have another good game. I think that as we move further and further in the ranks, as in we've gotten past the back line, now we're in the midfield. I think everyone in the midfield had a splendid game. I definitely think that we have Daz Reynolds. I see your comment. Again, I'm going to link up, put a comment in for Twitter. I'll link back with you and I'll connect with you because I would love to have someone join me for Arsenal preview for sure. Let's get into it. Curtis Jones gets a 6. Okay, you guys definitely have to tell me why you guys got Curtis Jones in at for what you have him. The guy played 83 minutes yesterday, was 89% for his passing, had one key pass, had one shot on target, which was a really good shot, actually. Challenged our keeper, and let's be honest, the Chelsea keeper was on point yesterday. He's the backup keeper, but he's playing like a starter for Chelsea. Had 1 out of 2 successful dribble attempts, 3 out of 8 for his ground duels. Didn't win any of his aerial duels, but again was fouled once. Had one foul once and was offside once, and had an interception, a tackle, and was dribble passed twice. I want to know why you guys are giving him a JK. You got to tell me why you gave him a 6. GTV, no surprise, gave CJ a 7. CJ got an 8 from Dustin, a 7 from CJ. Was on a job yesterday. Yeah. Let's say JK said Curtis has played better, hence the 6. Okay. Let's see. Big up. Hashim, good to see you, brother. Hashim gives him an 8. I know. I got you. Redbird is being like, bring back the real talk, man. This fake is too negative. I got you. That's funny. Let's see. Daz gave him an 8. I guess we're gonna have to give CJ a 7, man. Gave him a 7. Okay. Give him a 7. He was a high 7, if not a low 8, man. I thought CJ didn't play poorly. I thought CJ contributed. There was nothing negative about CJ. I don't. If there's anything, tell me where Curtis let you down then yesterday. Where was it that Curtis made you say, "Oh, that's a demotion," or that's some type of negative mark for him? I don't think he had one. I think he was a high 7. I know I don't have half grades, but I would have put him as a high 7, if not a low 8 yesterday. But I'll go with what you guys said. Big up to KJ. Big up to KJ. Definitely a loyal supporter of the channel. Appreciate you tuning in. Let's move on to who. Hey, let me say this about the next guy on our list, and that is Maka. I can't say enough about how Maka has made this role his own, in the sense of we have all warmed, some later than others, but we have all recognized, I believe, finally, that the interpretation of our 6 is going to be a hybrid interpretation of the 6. It's not going to be this destroyer style interpretation of the 6. We do have a destroyer on our team in Endo, and we do have that option. But I believe that the preferred choice with the number of 6 options or options that we have for the 6 for this team, whether it will be a Bajcetic, whether it'll be a Thiago when they have their time, or whether it's Curtis Jones if he ends up playing that role, whether it's Gravenberch if he ends up playing that role, which I suggested. I would like to see him get development in, and possibly doing so. Once he definitely has to improve on his defensive measures, but all the same, I think that like Maka has really, really warmed to the role of playing this 6. He's warmed to understand what it takes to be really good in the 6. And I just can't say enough about McAllister. You know, like there were parts and points where people were like, "Hey, when is it going to really click for him?" I think he did really step it up in the City game. That was really one of his breakout games for me. But for McAllister, I think we've seen it over the last few games since his injury, since he got that nasty cut. That wasn't a foul, that apparently, but in my eyes was, that he got the gash and had to get stitches for. Since making his return, Maka has really performed and really showed his quality and his contributions. I'm going to put Maka as an 8. I wouldn't go as far. He had a man of the match or top tier, like in the sense of having a man of the match candidate type performance. But I definitely would say he is definitely putting in work. I would even go as far as to say he had a really good performance yesterday, despite not getting any goals. I get that, but you know, he really did a really good job yesterday. I think Maka has really stepped up and played really well. I see you guys putting in some of the comments here. I see JK gave him an 8. I see GTV definitely stretching a little bit, but gave him a 7.5, moving away from a 7. I got you, brother. Let's see. Alexi got an 8 from KJ. He got a 8.5 from Dustin. Enz gave him a 9. Cool, yeah. Real controller. That's a good way of putting it. Good way of putting it, Enz. A definite controller on some Drake settings. On some definite Drake settings. You know what I mean? Controller. You know what, Brian? I'm going to start his comment, and I'm going to get back to it because I have a comment. I do have a comment for that because I'm going to include, because I was engaging with one of the Liverpool beat writers, and I was going with a back and forth with him on that because of a comment he made, and he actually engaged with me. So I'm going to tell you what him and I got into a discussion over in a bit after we're done this on the Maka shout for him taking pens. Let's move on to the guy who got a goal for us, the return, and the much needed return. I would have liked to have seen him. I know I made a shout for him to get involved as our right wing possibly, because he didn't get this. He got the start, and that is Dom, the boss. The boss made a great return in getting a goal, a great goal too, by one provided to him by the young Conor Bradley. But yeah, no problem, Cedric. Definitely watch it on the return. I see that Cedric is probably working or doing this thing. I like the fact that Cedric listens and appreciates the fact that he keeps the channel open, gives us the engagement and views that we need to keep the channel growing and reaching more masses. So big up to Cedric. Let me see. What are you guys feeling about Dom? I thought Dom had arguably a man of the match. He definitely, I think, got a top tier performance yesterday. He looked like what we need from a right mid. We see what Dom brings in the role of, in the work rate that we see out of Dom. I liked also the fact that Dom got the goal since we end up seeing Conor go wide and do an advanced run. We also got to see Dom go central, and that's where he ended up getting the goal in the actual header. We actually got to see Dom go central with his approach. He didn't have to stay more right central or stay even on the right side. But he got that goal. A really great cross from Conor. And let's just be honest, a great header, a really, really well-placed header. He said it himself. He said Conor put it in a place that he didn't have to do much other than make contact with the ball. So big up to Conor for the great cross. And also big up for Dom being in the position that he had to be in to make the actual goal. I'm going to put him in a top-tier performance, guys. I thought that Dom had a great game. Great game. Easily going to be a starter for that Arsenal game, for sure. I want to move on to, I'll go in reverse order, actually. I'm going to move on to Diego first because I'm going to leave Lucho for last. I'm going to move on to Diego. How are you guys feeling about Diego? I thought Diego was a phenomenal player. I get that I didn't have him starting because I like the fact that Diego is instant offense. He's instant impact no matter where you put him, whether he's off the bench, whether he's a starter. He is absolute instant impact. He always puts a stamp on the game. Rarely do you ever see Diego, Diego Hata the Shata, rarely do you ever not see him make his mark. I thought Diego was fantastic yesterday. I see a lot of eights, or I see a lot of eights I see JK gave him an 8. Hashem gave him an 8. Let's see. Dustin gave him an 8.5. And let's see. Enz gave him an 8. Let me see what G has to say real quick. I saw KJ gave him an 8. G said Diego put in a Salah performance, didn't do much, but what he did do was be effective in moments. That's a good way of putting it. I like that. And that's from coming. GTV has to be one of Mo Salah's biggest fans, by the way. We all know how G is very critical, and we all know that Salah is definitely his favorite player on the team. So yeah, I guess that's a kind of a tongue-in-cheek type compliment. That's a little bit of a backhanded compliment, but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying for sure. Hey, it's all about making the most out of those moments. That's what it takes. I care less. You can go missing the entire game as long as you're critical and poignant in those moments. That's what it matters most. Yeah, he did get a goal. Only had one shot on target. Kind of the way he took that goal was impressive. It was almost like, he had his Puff Daddy, I'm coming out. I want the world to know, that's that moment. But yes, definitely had a penalty one. I'm going to put, I know he had a lot of 8s. I'm going to give him a top tier performance in my book. Lower tier, but certainly top tier performance for our guy Diego de Hata Shata. Let's move on to Lucho. I know I'm definitely saving someone for last, but Lucho Lucho. I thought Lucho had a great performance. If you do look at Lucho's performance, I thought that the work that we saw from him was excellent. Got a goal out of Lucho, got an assist out of Lucho, had 2 shots on target, 1 shot off target, was 1 for 1 for successful attempts, dribble attempts, 56 target or touches, excuse me, was 30 out of 38 for his passing, but had 2 key passes, was 2 for 2 for his long balls, 4 out of 5 for ground duels. Something that is being very well overlooked for Lucho is his work rate and his ability to enhance his defensive levels. I think it's important to show that he has gotten we can never knock Lucho on his work rate. I think that, but now that we're getting it from both going forward and both going tracking back, you got to give it out. You got to give it to Lucho. The ratings I see for Lucho are 7.5. Wow, and see now Enz is taking the role of spoiler. 7.5, brother. I don't know. I definitely don't think he's in that average, if not slightly above average rating. I think he's definitely above that. Lucho got 8.5 from Dustin. 7.5 from KJ. He was great last night. From KJ, Daz said Lucho took his goal well. Oh yeah, it was more so the pass, I think, for that than it was that. But Lucho had to be there. He had to be in the position to make it, and I thought it was good. Hashim has it as excuse me. I make sure I always like to make sure I pronounce names right. Hashim has it as a mixed performance for him. Okay. It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. Diana Ross. Yes, that's more so. Puffy has a remix of the Diana Ross. He uses the sample, but definitely, yeah, Diana Ross moment for sure. Big up to Brian with that shout. Hey guys, I know that you guys have Lucho as being an 8, if not an 8. If not 7.5, 8.5. I've seen 8s from Daz Reynolds. I'm going to be scandalous and put Lucho. Recognize Colombia, recognize to all my Colombians out there, recognize I got love. All right, Lucho gets a lower he definitely gets a 9 from me. I thought he just absolutely, despite what the algorithm has him at being at 8.9 for his performance yesterday. Oh, cool. I did pronounce it right. All right. Big up. I wanted to make sure, definitely I got respect on everyone's name. I'm gonna be scandalous. I put Lucho as a 9. Yeah, it is what it is. So I'm gonna move on to the guy that is with me today, the guy I'm giving still love for, the guy that, despite his frequency and in finding the woodwork rather than finding the back of the net, I'm going to bring up Nunez. Okay. So let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Look, I was very vocal in being a supporter for this young man to get the opportunities that we saw for him. Again, I know that there are people that are going to say, they're going to get weighed on and stuck on the near misses. I mean, they're considered misses because they hit the woodwork. But I mean, we're talking about millimeters, like centimeters, of a difference. And those shots end up being goals. He's just got to dial it in. I know he has it in him. And it's one of those things where, like, I told you about how I got into a back and forth with one of the Liverpool beat writers, engaged with me with one of my comments back to him, and we were engaging, and basically because he was saying how he wasn't thinking about him taking the penalty, and that he wasn't looking for him, he wasn't his selection, it wouldn't have been an obvious choice for him, so and so, blah 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 blah. Look, I think even with the miss, for me, I want to see him take the next penalty kick if he gets that opportunity before Mo gets back. I want to see that primarily. I don't care what the gravity of the game is. It just so happens that this penalty kick wasn't a defining matter. It wasn't like if you got the penalty, if you made it or missed it, it made the difference in the game. I understand that there could be a case that it could make the difference in the game, but I still want to say to Darwin that I have the faith and I have the belief that you can make the difference. Maybe having that much pressure on you might actually make you slot it even easier. But why I'm saying what I'm saying is that, like, I know that there's pressure is not the issue. Pressure is not the issue. This young man steps up for previous club, and he stepped up for our club, and he stepped up for his own country as well in taking penalty kicks. He was 100% before this penalty kick, and I don't want this penalty kick to define him. If there's anything that you need to say and do, and with Darwin, is say, we believe in you, take this next penalty kick, because turning your back on him now would just be too much of a confidence destroyer, in my opinion. I think that I get it. If he does miss it, it could have negative effects, but I think that the positive effects it could have by him taking the penalty, making the penalty, and us showing the confidence and support that we believe in him and the trust that we believe in him will be even bigger of a confidence builder in him. And I don't think it has anything to do with confidence, really, because I say confidence very loosely. I think with Darwin, it's not about confidence. It's more so about just focus, about knowing how much to dial in and to set the dials on the absolute adrenaline that is pushing and pumping through his veins. Because I don't think he lacks confidence. Lacking confidence would have mean that he wouldn't have taken the shots. Darwin had a plethora of shots yesterday. 5 shots on target, 4 shots off target, 2 shots blocked, 4 shots hitting the woodwork. And this 4 shots hitting the woodwork is an unfortunate record that he holds now for the Premier League. In hitting the woodwork 4 times is now the record of attempts of hitting the woodwork in one game. But it shows that this young man does not care one bit about the fact that he has a Mamba mentality in him, that he is going to continue to try and try and try again. And I like the fact that he doesn't shy away from it. He doesn't disappear from the game. The fact that, he's still the aspects of what he brings to the game opens up so many different channels and things for others in the game. And it also is the fact that he got the assist to Lucho, which was I thought it was a very well taken and great assist. And it was to the point where the assist was so good that all Lucho had to do was be in the right position and put a foot on it. There's no other place it's going other than the back of the net. And that's what happened. The result happened. So, I get it. It ended up being our 4th goal and everything else. And, it makes it look like a little bit better. He cost me a little bit of money because I would have gotten 3-1 in the result of the betting, but I don't really care about that. Hey, if it takes me putting my money out there to kind of get better results, cool, whatever. But yes, I'm going to say that despite the misses, despite all of what we said, and maybe it's because I don't want Darwin to think that we don't appreciate his contributions. I'm still going to say it's above average. I saw anytime that if you get to see if you're going to see, and I'm going to put this up that the record shows it too. GTV gave Nunez a 7.5 or an 8. I repeat that, a 7.5 or an 8 for Nunez. That shows that that 1G is definitely acknowledging and understanding the contributions that this young man is bringing, despite the fact that he's not getting the goals. It's the sheer fact that, this is one thing I've said about strikers, and you know what? And it was something that was that brought out on a I forget which I definitely want to give him credit for bringing it out, but this is something that I've said too, and is that if you look at who are the top chance, like who misses the biggest chances, like who has the most misses on goal, who is not quote unquote clinical, okay? Those people that have the most opportunities missed tend to be your top goal scorers, your Hollands, your players like that tend to be at the top of the list at missing attempts. And you know why they miss so many attempts? Your Salas, for instance, your Mo Salas he gets a lot of shots and he misses or has a lot of shots saved sometimes. But the volume of creations and chances that they get is so abundant because of the talent that the player has and the ability to get into the places that he can get that they can get these shots off, the ability to get these things, the ability to be to create opportunities is something that has to be recognized. I of course want to see him contribute in finishing his dinner. Absolutely. But you have to be in it to win it. And the fact that he makes so many opportunities, the odds are, if you go to the casino, the odds are that he's going to start connecting on some of these chances. He's going to get some of these things done. So yeah. Let me see it. Because Darweezy is definitely watching my podcast. If anyone's podcast, he's definitely watching my podcast because he knows I show him definite love. That's a good question, Daz. I'm gonna star your question, Daz. I have your statement there. KJ wants to say, so I'm gonna put these comments up for what we have to say about Darweezy. He says, KJ says he loves Darwin. He gets a 9 from him. He his all-around game play has improved massively and one of his best games for sure, despite not scoring. Well put, KJ. Well put. I think, okay, so Hashem, why Maka gave him the ball? We have Maka and Dom to take penalties. This is what I said. I was going through a back and forth with the Liverpool beat reporter, and why I think Maka gave him the ball is especially because of the reasons why I want to see him score, or want to see him at spot kicks, but also because of this. I think Maka is arguably one of Darwin's best friends on this team. And hear me out with what I have to say, okay? He is definitely one of his best friends, one of his biggest supporters, one of his biggest fans, yada, yada, yada. He loves, despite them not being from the same country, he loves Darwin. You can see it. And also because they both speak Spanish as their native tongue, as their first preferred tongue, they are able to communicate. I'm sure that that's one of the underlying reasons why they have such a great relationship. One of the factors in why they have a great relationship. I think that Maka understands what it means to be a striker, what it means to be a number 9. Maka knows what it means for this young man to get goals. Maka understands the fact that he is willing to possibly not put himself in front of his friend simply because he wants his friend to get these opportunities. And it goes even further than friendship. It goes even further possibly than teammates. It's just the fact that I think he wants to see him succeed and he believes in him. I think he honestly believes in him. I think this team believes in him. As much as you hear me saying what I'm saying, I think this manager I think, if anything, his teammates believe in him utmost. They understand that this young man brings so much to the table, and they want to see him perform. And I think that they're willing to take a step back at being in that more definitive, I'll take the penalty kick role, to allow for him to have that opportunity. And we all know that Darwin looks to take the penalties regardless. He's the first to run to get the ball because that's the natural instinct of a striker. On almost every team, normally the striker is the person that takes your penalty kicks because he's probably the person that has the best accuracy or the best ability to score, and who is most judged on goals is the number 9. So that's the reason why I think he gave him why Maka and Dom both did not step up to take that penalty yesterday. Fun fact from GTV: Cole Palmer has the same amount of goals and is only 4 assists behind him and played 9 fewer. That's a fun fact. And also, fun fact back to you, G. 5 of those goals are penalty kicks for Cole Palmer. So, big up to Cole Palmer, I guess. But all the same, Cole Palmer went missing yesterday. Cole Palmer, despite not getting his penalty kicks, did not show up at all. He was, at times, you would have asked yourself, was he even on the pitch? And he was playing their number 9. He's their guy. He did nothing yesterday. So, fun fact. But big up. So yes. But yes, let's get into this. So let's move on to our subs. I thought it was good to see the subs that we got to see yesterday. I like the fact that we got to see, obviously, the return of Trent. We saw Cody play. Cody's in that position where, it sucks because he's easily become the 5th choice out of, if you're tiering the choices, he's now become the 5th choice. I don't think Cody's a 5th choice per se. He just needs to get a good run of games, and it's a shame that we pushed, maybe putting him all over the pitch in different positions hasn't allowed for him to get a real run and identity at any of the one positions that he wants to hold on to. But Trent Alexander saw return, saw Cody play. We saw obviously the return of Robbo, the more vaunted return. We saw a quick glimpse of him in the previous game, but we got a little bit of a better run out of him today, taking over for Gomez. We saw Harvey Elliott play, which is cool. I don't want Harvey to lose that identity as being a super sub. I want him to have the same intensity and same dedication to the whatever role is on the table for him. And we got to see a youth player in Bobby Clark play, which was very, very cool to see. Bobby Clark came in for Curtis Jones. That was good to see because I like Bobby Clark. I think there's promise. There's the same type of promise in Bobby Clark that we see in Bradley, in my opinion. But it's about getting the opportunities to see that happen. And considering the amount of depth that we have in the midfield, it's going to be difficult for Bobby Clark to get that opportunity, other than via international duties or injuries. And none of us want to see the latter be the case, that he gets those opportunities. So let's just rifle off these one by one real quick. I thought Trent, decent game, not great. I mean, nothing spectacular. I want to say decent, but I mean, he didn't have to really do anything. Came in at the 68th minute. I give Trent an average performance yesterday. Didn't really have to do much, but I'm looking forward to when he gets back. It kind of overshadowed he kind of got overshadowed by Conor Bradley having such a stellar game that you didn't really get to see Trent at his normal phenomenal best. But I thought Trent had little brief moments. I thought Cody, again, since we don't have anyone below average, there's no way I'm giving him a below average. I'm going to put Cody in as an average performance. Maybe I'm taking a page out of GTV's book by giving a lot of 7s here, but I don't think anyone had a below 7 average. I guess if we're going to make it, the only ones I would have said possibly in that award would have been maybe Ali, maybe VVD. I know there's shouts for Curtis being in that realm, but since we gave him 7s, I'm going to have to give Cody a 7 as well. Who else we got? We got Robbo. Normally I have these already queued up, but I'm going to give Robbo an average performance. Nothing really incredible by Robbo, but I'm glad to see him back in the squad. I'm glad to see him participating. Glad to see him really rocking and rolling. In the sense of, making the conversation. Like, as in, I know that there's people out there that say Robbo is going to have to fight for his job back from Gomez for the left back role. I know there's people that have even said that the same about Trent having to fight for his role back from Conor Bradley. Let's definitely ease those flames for a quick second. I am not in those camps at all, really, to be honest with you. But all the same, everyone's welcome to their opinion. Harvey Elliott, since we're giving out 7s, I'll give Harvey Elliott 7. Nothing spectacular, but he did, he didn't do anything crazy. He didn't do anything poor. So I'll say that. And I will say finally, but not least, Bobby Clark. I'm going to give Bobby Clark. He didn't really have much to do. He got in at the 83rd minute. It would be harsh. It'd be harsh to say. It's kind of harsh to say he had an average performance, considering he had very limited minutes. I know. I think what they gave him 5 minutes extra time in that, so he got all of 12 minutes to perform. It's not much you can ask for that. It is what it is. I'm glad to see Bobby Clark was a selection to get put on. It is what it is. I don't want to rate anyone necessarily as a 6 today, considering that we controlled that game from start to finish yesterday. Let's just give it up for our Kaiser. How are we rating Klopp? I think Klopp has to get a top tier performance. Look, the spotlight is on our Kaiser going forward every game, despite him saying he doesn't want to make it about him. Look, we are going to obviously make almost every game about him, especially when it's at Anfield. Almost every game is going to be about Klopp, because Jurgen has now, by saying he's leaving, he is now in a position where we're going to all appreciate, most of us at least, are all going to appreciate every last moment that we have with our Kaiser. I thought Klopp played I thought Klopp put out a really good lineup. I liked every part and portion of the players he selected. There was no one really that I said that I scratched my head as to, but why did he play this? Or he should have played that player. No, not one. I thought he got the subs right by, making sure that players got good runs in, but they didn't necessarily overexert themselves, because we have a huge game coming up against Arsenal. We're going to have definitely these Gooners ready and willing to take us on. And it's one of those things where I'm really looking forward to that matchup. Definitely looking forward to it. I did tell my supporter club that I would be there. They're making a point that I am there for this time, because everyone's been asking, everyone asking, why aren't you here more often? We don't get to see you as much, and I try to explain to them, it's because I'm on the podcast. I have my podcast. I have my community here and everything. So some of them do follow me. I'm going to make sure, I'm going to put it there. I'm going to probably go to my supporter boozer this weekend and make sure that everyone recognizes and even if they don't watch YouTube, make sure that they all subscribe. And if they do, definitely support me on those measures. So yeah. Yeah, Brian, I got you. Brian gave Klopp an 8. He's saying because he's saying his Nan could beat this Chelsea side. Hey, Chelsea was moving in on their attempt to win 4 straight games in the Prem. So I mean, like, it was a team that definitely gotten out there. Yeah, I know. I love Liverpool's trolling me now. But yeah, he was definitely Jurgen's side out there definitely did work against Poch. Pochettino, excuse me, definitely has a nice relationship with them. I definitely think that he says some great and inspiring and great words about Klopp, about his relationship with the game and everything else. But yeah, man, I agree. 200 million pounds. Brian says 200 million pounds for central midfield. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'd love to have that conversation. KJ gave Klopp a 10. I'm putting Klopp as a man of the match, a manager of the match, top billing. Look, I think it's an easy man of the match. It's an easy man of the match. Winner for all of us. I don't think that it's going to be that much that we have to put into thinking about man of the match. I see we're coming up on the full 90 here. I'm only going to go a few minutes into extra time. So let's just do it. Man of the match has to be Conor Bradley. I'll put him by Jurgen as the manager of the match, but Bradley is hands down man of the match. No questions. No way is anyone else going to be. No way is anyone. I don't think anyone else, other than maybe some trolls, some scrolls, or even some haters, rivals, whatever, are going to put different, because this young man did such a great job yesterday. Big up to Conor Bradley as our man of the match. Man of the match for sure. Has to be Conor. So yeah. So this is what I have as our ratings. I think everyone should be happy with the performance yesterday, despite the fact that it could have been 7-8, could have been like 8-0. I'm gonna take this down here, and again, I'm only gonna go a few minutes into extra time, so I probably won't be able to bring Brian in for commentary. Because normally when Brian and I start chopping it up, or when or whether it's JK or Chris or whoever joins me on the podcast, sometimes we end up, engaging so much with the commentary that it ends up pushing it into doubling the time in the broadcast. So again, we're at the 90-minute mark coming up. I'm going to keep it light today and make sure that I am well rested for tomorrow's big round 2 for the 12th man Anfield Cup. But yes, I'm going to say this. Yesterday's game was really a display of what we should expect and what we have to appreciate when it comes to this team, when it comes to what this team offers. Anytime you can tell me that we're going to have an XG of 2.9, anytime you're going to tell me we're going to have 28 shots, nearly half of them on target, being 13 shots on target. And keep in mind, 4 of them hitting the woodwork don't count as shots on target, okay? So again, 13 shots on target, 6 off target. Also 9 block shots. We had 8 corner kicks, which means that we were progressively in their final third and having a lot of shots either deflect off let's be honest. It took an absolute incredible save by Petrovic, I believe his name is, right? It took an absolute incredible save by Petrovic on Darwin when to get fingertips on that shot to usher it out. It took another great save against Lucho for it not to have gone in. Petrovic was playing on his head. I said this comment in in one form. I was going to post it on my Twitter. I still will now that I'm making it now. But my comment was, is it crazy to say a goalkeeper who let in 4 goals had a very good game? I think it sounds crazy, but that is what happened yesterday. I honestly think that Petrovic had a really, really good game despite letting in 4 goals. The algorithm had him close to he had a 7.7 in the algorithm that I utilized. He had 9 saves. Let me repeat that. 9 saves yesterday. Okay. 5 saves from inside the box. Really, really, I mean, he's going to make it hard. He's going to make it difficult, pause. Okay. He's going to make it difficult for him to get Sanchez to get his position back. But I can understand why they started him yesterday and didn't start Sanchez. But I can also say this. That game yesterday, we absolutely, from start to finish, controlled that game. At no point did I think that Chelsea was a threat. At no point did I think that Chelsea was going to make a comeback. At no point did I think that Chelsea was on our level in any position, much less at any time or any role. And I just think that Chelsea, despite spending over $1 billion in players, Chelsea, despite having the trophy for winning the summer transfer window, acting as if the summer transfer is a competition. And it's sad because nowadays that's what it is. The people treat the summer transfer or these transfer windows as if it's like a competition in itself. And you want to be the team that shows, oh, we won the summer transfer or we won the January transfer. I just think that it's kind of sad, a sad day that's where our game has progressed to, But I really, 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 really appreciate this club from top to bottom, whether it's FSG, whether it's Klopp, Pep, whether it's the goalkeeping coach, whether it's the youth development coach, whether it's the freaking I forget some of the names. My apologies. When I do visit the cafeteria, I will reintroduce myself or introduce myself properly. But whether it's the cooks and the attendants for the cafeteria, whether it's the guy that whether it's the guard who lets you into the grounds, to let you drive into the grounds. I could care less, but the players, the fans, every last part of this team, if you can't say that you have you've found that loving feeling, having my Maverick moment, if you can't say that about this club, I don't know if you ever loved this club, period. Because realistically, this club shows that we have a lot of going on for us for the future. It's why, if anything, if you guys ever do get on, if you guys are ever a part of Egal's channel, if you guys are ever a part of the kickoff, and you get to comment and everything else, please do drop my name, please. I know Drunk Vigo and the likes sometimes put my name out there to be a part of content creators in our own community, like as in Redman TV and other like Frank Carlisle's channel and stuff like that. But even so, with the Football Terrace and with with Egal's channel and other state and with Mo's channel, I'm gonna go blank on Mo's complete name for his channel, but Mo has a channel where he's like the judge, Mudge Judge Football or something like that. please do drop my name. Please do drop my name. There's not many people out here that are going to be staunch defenders for our club. They're going to speak up, going to definitely bring a positive lights. They're going to not necessarily allow for a lot of the negative narratives to be pushed. And I'm definitely going to fight back. I'm definitely going to put a positive spin for the most part. I'll acknowledge points and parts that are acceptable. But when it comes down to it, please do put it out there, because Igal was someone that was out there on the football terrace, for instance, putting it out there that he believes that when Jurgen Klopp goes, we're going to fall off so badly that we're going to be fighting to make top 4, not to contend any longer. He thinks we're going to be fighting for 5th or 4th place. That's what he has us. That's how far of a drop-off Igal has us doing. Now, I'm not putting it out there to go and attack Igal. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is to my mighty Red Army out there, one that I'm a part of, that we have to recognize this slander, this absolute bollocks of comments, okay? And, I get it. He's a rival. He doesn't want to give props where props are due, but those kinds of seeds that are planted normally grow, and those weeds normally grow, even though they're planted by rivals for the most part. Sometimes they're sometimes watered, they're sometimes watered by those scrolls, trolls, amongst our own fan base out there. We can't let that happen. So definitely drop the name and everything else. No jealousy. I'm not saying hopefully you're saying they're jealous, for sure. I don't have jealousy of their presence on these platforms. I would certainly say it definitely, sometimes when I see some of the participants on the platform, there are some good content creators that have our best interests, that do participate, but often it's a case where we often have sometimes a lot of times just the people you will see participating are people that have always been the naysayers, have always been the chicken littles, or are the ones that are out there that are the woe is me, our team is bad, our team is this, just basically, really pushing that negative narrative, that lazy punditry narrative that you hear out there. It's not happening with me. It's one of the main mission points that I put out there. Judge Mo, KJ, that's his name, Judge Mo. But I hope that I hope to be a representative on some of these channels going forward, or at least being a viable voice back, push back, and not someone that just allows for these other voices and other really negative narratives, poor sometimes agendas, and if anything, lazy parrot punditry. I want to make sure that there's someone that's going to push back against it. There's someone that's going to really represent, and that's why I believe I am the 12th man just as much as you are. That's how I see it, Always got our back. So big up. So again, I only said I was going to go a little bit over time. So let me get some of these comments in before we bounce. Let's see. I think this is on my comment about the four goals thing. Brian says, it happens lots of times every season. Goalkeepers have great games, but still let in 3 or 4. Keepers for lower league sides, I guess, especially. And then he says, so it's not crazy, my comment. That's a big shout, because I know Brian thinks that sometimes my comment, my takes are kind of crazy, but all the same, big up, Brian. I like it though, because Brian and I go head to head when it comes to a lot of the takes that we all have. Facts 12, and they have the half. Okay, this is what I love. Liverpool says facts 12, and they had half the possession, but still doing nothing. Yes, that was about basically Chelsea, really doing nothing in the game. Big up Chris Angel, representing Beijing Reds TV. Hopefully, Chris will be available tomorrow for round 2. Chris is the current point leader in the competition. He has 3 games played, 9 points gathered. We all are vying at the opportunity to take the top of the Liverpool 12th man and Anfield Cup performer down, and that is Chris Angel. But big up to Chris. Chris says, I don't really care. He doesn't really care about all that blah, 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 stats, this and that. Nunez should be scoring every game. Seems to be the same excuse. The opponent goalkeeper was doing brilliant saves. Dog, he had 9 saves, and they all weren't against Nunez. So I think that I get your comment, but all the same, I think that the goalkeeper had a great game yesterday for Chelsea. He actually was Chelsea's best performer yesterday was their goalkeeper, despite letting in 4 goals. He was their best performer. That just goes to show you what level Chelsea was at, or more so, what level Liverpool was at. That we could have that many misses, that many attempts, those kinds of results from our goal scorers or from our shooters, on our goal attempters, and still get the result that we got, because we could have easily got 8 goals, possibly 7-8 goals easily. Let's see what's up. Nigel says we're improving, and it's extremely exciting to be a part of the journey. I agree. There's shouts out there. This is why I say it's sometimes frustrating to see those people out there that do voice art or do carry our water when it comes to the debates and the dialogues, because some of these same people that are out there were saying Klopp can't do a rebuild. Klopp's never been able to stay at a place longer than 7 years. Hey, that's why. And it's difficult. I'm glad that we're on this journey. I've always believed that this journey would create some fruitful benefits, and it has for sure. Okay, Brian's showing another example. He says when we beat Burnley, Trafford had a great game. He had 9 saves. Yeah, he had a really good game in that game. He did, but we handily controlled that game from start to finish. He says, Nigel also says he thinks we're 8 out of 10, improving every game. I think that the fact that our defense and the ability to hold on to the ball, the possession carries and everything else, the fact that our shots are so high, though, the fact that we have so many shots shows that we have such great possession of the ball and momentum of the attempts. The momentum of the game is in our favor. Nigel asks, are you going to do a watch along on Sunday? I want to. I'm going to look to figure out possibly doing one from my supporter boozer, or doing something where we I most likely will do something. Maybe I could post up on the patio or something, and not have a speaker really next to me so that I could do it that way. But I will do something on Sunday for sure. Big game, big game. I will be doing a preview for certain. What else do we have to say? Let's see. He says that isn't really slander, though. Backroom staff is changing. This is what Chris Angel has to say. He says this isn't really slander, though. Backroom staff is changing it, been leaving and changing since last year. They're inconsistently. They're wait. Hold on, let me make sure I read this right. There isn't really slander, though. Backroom staff is changing. It's been leaving and changing since last year. Their inconsistency. That everybody's been saying it for years about Klopp. The reason we are but Klopp is the reason we are where we are right now. I think I read that right. Hopefully I read that right, Chris. Hopefully I read that right. Big up, KJ. I appreciate that for sure. You got to recognize game, KJ. I feel you, brother. Game, recognize game. Let's see. Daz. Oh, I won't forget your question, Daz. I won't forget your question. I have it starred. I will come back to the starred ones. And Nigel, last point he said is he's okay with him hitting the 4. I'm okay with him hitting the post 4 times as long as we win. I could care less. Hit the post 5 times. If we get a 4-1, if we get a 4-1 victory out of it, are we still going to complain? Really? I already voiced this one. about the pens. Let me say, this is the start one. He says, Daz is asking, 12th man, do you start Cody against Arsenal? Now, this is a big time question. I'm going to say that a lot of my selections are on. I'm not going to give too many spoilers away just yet, but I am not going to do what I did against. I can give you this little spoiler. I am not going to do what I did for Cody this match, because I would have preferred to see Cody in this match as a starter and as a backup in the next game, because I don't see Cody as being a starter next game. I just don't. It's to the point where now Diego makes it almost an impossibility of you not including him in that starting lineup. And I got a lot of pushback when I showed my lineups and it not having Diego as that starter. And again, I think that the starting lineup that we'll see tomorrow will be the same. This weekend. Spoiler alert allowed. It's going to most likely be that same front three we saw today or yesterday, I should say. That's just how I see it, plain and simple. All right, last couple comments here. He's saying, Chris is saying, this is to the Cody Hackwell question. He's saying, nope, doesn't get in 11, not even in the bench. He needs to go to a mountain and stay there on timeout. No. Is that about Cody? Chris, we're gonna have some fun little discussions tomorrow, because what's going to be cool about tomorrow is, there'll definitely be a nice little run of games that we're going to get in tomorrow. We're going to try to get as many as we can. But what's fun about it is it's almost like a watch along with watching games perform as the games go on during the game. So I'm going to pin this question and definitely jump on it. Definitely. Ensman, send me the link if you haven't. And also, I don't know how, Brian, do you know how we do, like, as in how we do things where we can, like, send people to someone else's page right after this is done? If anything, I will definitely recommend you guys go to Ensman TV after this and be a part of this. Definitely send me the link and I will definitely participate. I don't have, my afternoon is free this afternoon, so I definitely did. But we'll settle it yesterday. Hopefully when you're looking at an L, hopefully when Beige and Reds TV is looking at an L tomorrow, we'll see how you feel about that and about the comments and about your comments about Agent Cody. And KJ finally says, no, we have rhythm right now. Don't change anything other than Trent. Yeah, we're going to get into that in the preview. It's going to be very interesting what we do with a lot of these selections, whether it's Conor Bradley, whether it's Robbo, whether it's Dom. There's a lot of fun and fun problems to have. Very, very enticing and fun problems to have. It's gonna be fun. But yes, big up to Chris Angel representing Beige and Reds TV. Definitely, I know I get pushed back on, like, giving shouts out to so many other content creators out there. But Ensman TV, Beige and Reds TV, they all show love, they all support, they all, always when they're available, look to be a part of the chat, if not a part of the broadcast. And if anything too, they do have always room on their panels for myself. And I appreciate that portion of our community especially as well. So big up to all of them. If you can jump onto Ensman TV right now, he's about to go live, if not already. And I guess with that, hey, I will see you guys tomorrow for the Anfield Cup tomorrow. Yeah. But yeah, I'll make sure that you understand this. Look, this is really, really important, really important. I want to get this really rock and rolling. You'll Never Walk Alone is not just a song. It's not merely an anthem. It's a statement of intent. By subscribing, liking, commenting, committing to all those things and sharing, this becomes a movement to empower our mighty Reds. That's the bottom line. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And yeah, big up to everyone. Big up to the Mighty Red Army. They've got some games tomorrow, so definitely the chat, please do be sure to make the necessary adjustments to your lineup. Be prepared to know what you want to see out of your lineup for the games that you guys have on deck for tomorrow. But it's going to be a fun outing. And I guess until tomorrow, 7 p.m. UK time is the scheduled broadcast. So until tomorrow, or until Ants-Man's TV, or until Beige Rants TV, or until GTV, until all the other guys, or until I am back once again. Hey, take care of yourself. I can't stress this enough. Please take care of yourself. Please take care of your loved ones. Take care of each other in this Reds community, especially because I can't stress this enough. From a lot of what's going on in my life currently, life is very, very, very crucial and fragile. And yeah, take care of your loved ones, especially. You guys are my loved ones out there, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I will see you next time on the same channel, same Reds time, same Reds channel. And until then,